Subscribe to my YouTube channel at ANNKIO Briggs for notifications and updates. Also follow me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, all at ANNKIO. We have a situation where UMPADEC is created. It is run down by the same system that creates it to calm the Niger Delta down. And corruption is brought into it. Yes, corruption is brought in, whatever it is, corruption is brought into it. And yes, our people who are supposed to represent us become engaged, become part of the system that deny us what we are supposed to have in the name of politics, in the name of one Nigeria. It is up to a point our fault. If we want to fight for justice, if we want to insist on justice, demand for justice, we must continue to demand for justice until we get it. The problem of the Niger Delta people, all the Niger Delta people, is that we genuinely demand for something and we genuinely seem to have accepted something, whatever that thing is, in return. The people who are responsible for the delivery of it become connivers and become part of the problem and become the very people that make the system not to work. So we agitated for NDDC. Obviously that's because the River Basin Authority did not work. Obviously because UMPADEC did not work, because there is one point to put UMPADEC in the budget. There is another of actually giving UMPADEC the money that UMPADEC needs to deliver whatever UMPADEC is supposed to deliver. If you don't give UMPADEC if you say 10 billion naira and you give 5 billion naira, where is the other 5 billion naira? You transfer it to the next year. So you have taken 10 billion, 5 billion naira into next year. So next year, if the budget is 12 billion naira, you must add that 5 billion naira that you're owing to make it 17. But that never happens. So every agency that has ever been set up, at least I came to hear about, even though I was in primary school, secondary school, I knew about I definitely knew about the Basin Authority. I definitely understood it. I definitely knew about UMPADEC. I understood it. I was amongst the people that agitated that Niger Delta came about, Niger Delta Development Commission came about. I understood it. I read the documents that created it and so on. So, like most people at that time, I understood what the Niger Delta Development Commission is set up to do. Now, has the Niger Delta Development Commission succeeded? No, it has not succeeded. It has failed. Now, if something has failed and it is meant for you, you have a right to find out why that thing has failed. That thing has failed because our people become connivers, either willingly or unwillingly, whatever the reason. If you cannot deliver on behalf of your people, then you should resign. NDDC was not created to fund politics. But from the moment it was created, it was governed and ruled and held down by politicians at federal level, at the National Assembly, and at the people, by the people who were appointed into the board to oversee the Niger Delta Development Commission. So in that it has failed. by participation of our people or not, it has failed, and they should be held responsible. Our people that have been there have sold the people of the Niger Delta out for the sake of politics. That's just the truth. From my analysis, that is just the truth. There is nothing wrong in a Niger Delta man or woman applying to construct a road that the NDDC has put up for construction, and bid for the road and get the job and get it done, and the road is working. Nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, for the reason that it is set up for the Niger Delta region, every engineer, every road builder, every person who can do the job should, first of all, the first opportunity to do that work should go to the Niger Delta people. I don't see any disagreement in that, because that's the only way that the Niger Delta people are going to be part of their development. And that's the way we're going to hold them responsible. So if you give road leading to Ogoni or in Ogoni to an Ogoni contractor or engineer who can build the road, or you give it to an Ogoni son or daughter who can bring a road company that can build that road, and people and jobs are created, there is nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Why should you give it to strangers? Yes. Why? Because there isn't enough jobs to go around. So the one that should come to the Niger Delta, unless we don't have engineers, unless we don't have people who can build the road, then you can now consider you can give it to somebody else. But if you have genuine people who can build roads that will last, why won't you give it to them? This is what the responsibility should be. That is why it is a son or daughter of River State that can be the governor of River State. That is why it is a son or daughter from a particular senatorial district that can become the senator of that senatorial district. So I see no reason why it should not apply in places like NDDC. So now, you move a bit further. We have a situation right now that has gone from bad to worse. A situation where the NDDC is embroiled in, has always been embroiled in the fact that it has failed to deliver. One, it has abandoned projects all over the place. Two, and whatever else that seems to have been done by NDDC is substandard. And we have a situation today where in this government, NDDC has not been under worse management since its creation than under this APC Buhari-led government. And I believe that this is purposeful, that the NDDC today is worse than it has ever been, is purposeful, is wickedness. And our people are part of that process. Like I said, willingly or unwillingly, our own Niger Delta sons and daughters are part of this process. That today, the NDDC is a failure, a complete failure. From 2015 till today, there is no management board managing the NDDC. The NDDC is shut down. In my opinion, the NDDC is shut down. Then we went from interim government to interim government. Now we have a sole administrator in the NDDC. I have said it before, I'm going to say it again. It became clear to me that there is a plan against the NDDC, the Ministry of Niger Delta, and the amnesty program from federal government level. And the only reason why it is still left in a skeletal form is just to keep it there, to be able to pass money through it, because it's not doing anything. And whom are the people that are being used? It is the Niger Delta people. It is the Niger Delta people, our own sons and daughters, our own brothers and our own sisters. It is not good enough if you speak up against the NDDC management because you want, you're not getting your way. No, you have to speak up against what is happening in the NDDC for everybody's sake, for the sake of the 9 oil-producing states. They are oil-producing states. If you speak up against what is happening in the NDDC, because it is wicked what is happening with the NDDC, then you are doing justice for your people, the 9 oil-producing states, which includes the 6 Niger Delta states. So, today, that we have an NDDC that all the achievement it has had since 2015 is that it has moved from a rented property on Aba Road to its own property at Eastern Bypass. Is not an achievement. It's not an achievement. It does nobody in the Niger Delta any good. Doesn't give us good hospitals, doesn't give us good education. It does not give us any of the things that the Niger Delta was, Development Commission was supposed to give us. Now, I want to move to the creation of the Northeast, the creation of the Northeast Development Commission. I want to state here briefly that the idea to create the Northeast Development Commission, the idea and the call for it was bettered, it took place, it was suggested, it was agreed upon and accepted. Personally, I had a different opinion, as I always do, and I did express it, but majority must always carry the vote. It was in the 2014 National Conference that the idea was suggested. There were 400 and something odd delegates there. I want one delegate to come and, if they hear this, to say that it was not suggested there. The idea, the suggestion was made at the 2014 conference, national conference. And the reason for that was that the Northeast was being ravaged, and that it needed help and it needed assistance. Now, when we look back, and I've spoken to a few that agreed, did not, even the people that saw my position as being being objective rather, against, like always not agreeing, going with the flow, have accepted that even to make that suggestion at the time to rebuild a place that was still being ravaged by attacks of Boko Haram, albeit not at this kind of level now where it's a free-for-all, everybody, headsmen, bandits, all kinds of people are just attacking left, right, and center. To say at that time that a development commission should be created for the Northeast while they were still under attack and while they were still displacing people till today, that is still going on. But by the time it got to the National Assembly and was approved at the National Assembly, the idea and how it will be funded and who should be part of the funding had been changed. And well, I mean, the people who have interest in it changed it to suit their political interests and their regional interests. That's what politics is. Unfortunately, the people in the South who were the movers of this project and the Niger Delta, who are the major funders of this project and any other project that needs money in Nigeria, don't think and don't ever think like other politicians from other parts of Nigeria do. And that's why we're in this mess. Because we agree, and that's why they say to us, go to the National Assembly. Because we can't get anything through the National Assembly. Even if you lobby, you will fail because you will never get what you want. If the South ever goes to lobby, and I know where a few times that they have lobbied for things, they end up giving part of what they want away for them to be able to be to get what they want. So at the end of the day, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. And when I speak of restructuring, it is not because I do not know that at this point that the resistance against restructuring will have to be removed by the very people who are resisting it. It's not because I don't understand it. It is because it is the last call left outside of calling for a referendum. So when one says restructure, let people not begin to say, why? I believe, if you really want my own personal opinion, I believe that we have passed the stage of restructuring. I actually believe, because I am convinced that restructuring will continue to be resisted. Now, but because that is how I see it based on the reality, doesn't mean that at the last end of it, the people who are resisting restructuring may not decide that, okay, you know what, let us accept restructuring. So, to say that people like ANNKIO, Briggs, who are talking about restructuring, is not, I'm not confused. I have always believed in self-determination, always. But you have to go through processes. You can't just wake up one morning and receive self-determination from whom? are you going to receive it? You can't wake up one morning and get an independent country. From whom are you going to get it? From whom are you going to get an independent country? I know from my exposure and understanding and research that I do, that it doesn't mean we should not continue to ask for it. But we also must put a timeline. Today, I have a right to speak as a Niger Delta person. I am not calling and I am not advising for war. I'm not afraid. I have never been somebody who is afraid to speak my mind. Never. From a one day. When you propose ideas and issues, you have to be able to make sure that other people understand and agree with you. And if they don't, doesn't mean that you move away from what you believe. Everybody stays with what they believe. What I believe is that it is in the best interest of the Niger Delta people today in Nigeria as we are, unless if there are some people thinking that they want to go and declare war and fight. That if that is not the idea, then as a Niger Delta daughter, as a River State daughter, I believe for the best interest of us and then of Nigeria, we must explore the issue of restructuring. We must restructure Nigeria. But the restructuring, let some people not do as if they are the only smart people. The issue of restructuring is blocked by the 1999 Constitution. Since 1999, when we had a colloquium in Port Harcourt, in Rivers State, to look at the 1999 Constitution, and we came up with a document called "The Emperor is Naked." We made it very clear that the 1999 Constitution is anti-Niger Delta. That was our position as far back as 1999, when the 1999 Constitution was handed over to Obasanjo. The Niger Delta NGOs and people, we sat down and we came to that conclusion that the 1999 Constitution is anti-Niger Delta. So the fact that the 1999 Constitution is against the people of the Niger Delta, not to talk of the people of the South, is not news. It's not today matter, please. It's not today. We all know. But the point is, how do we get what we want when we have such a constitution? So we have to demand, and which is what we must do, for a new constitution. How do you get a new constitution if you want a new constitution? That's the question. Because at the national conference, the suggestions that we made and we agreed upon and we voted upon and we agreed to, if the report is carried out by any Nigerian government that comes to power, we will get to the constitution. There is nothing we will change that will not bring us to the constitution. And when you come to the constitution, there is nothing you can do without going to the National Assembly, because it has to be amended. So if you begin to amend the constitution based on the 2014 National Conference report, by the time you finish, you will have a brand new constitution, because you would have amended the constitution to a point where you will not recognize it as having begun as the 1999 Constitution. So, I mean, it's not, let people not make it to seem as if you are not demanding what another person is demanding, that they are smarter than you. No. Anybody who wants to fight a war can go declare a war and buy a gun and fight the war if that's what they want to do. I don't believe in that as of now. But the Constitution also gives us a right to self-defense, to protect ourselves. And the fact that our people are being attacked and they are insecure is failure of government. And we must look at the right to defend ourselves and provide security for ourselves. And this is where the issue of calling for our governors to first of all develop an internal security mechanism across the 36 states, if that's what it will take. Every state must have its own internal mechanism for security. The federal government cannot do it. It's obvious. And we have a right to this security. We have a right to protect ourselves. And when a state that is in a region puts together a security mechanism, it cannot work in isolation. And that is where the issue of unity comes in. We have to unite. Now, I'm bringing myself back home to the Niger Delta. The Niger Delta states must, as a matter of life and death, as a matter of urgency, and I will continue to say it. I hear that I have endeared, or I have unendeared myself or disengaged myself, and that some people in political power don't like me, whatever, because of these positions that I express. Well, that's sad. I like them. I like them. I don't dislike them. I just feel that they are not doing enough, and I have a right to that feeling, and I have a right to express it. I have a right to express it. In February this year, the Niger Delta Self-Determination Movement wrote to the chairman of the South-South Governors Forum after he was nominated the chairman, the Delta State Governor, Dr. Okowa. We wrote to him. We sent copies of those letters to each and every of his brother governors of Bayelsa, Rivers, Cross River, Edo, and Akwa Ibom, and himself as the chairman, expressing concerns, serious concerns, and calling on them to come up with a regional security outfit like Amateku in February this year. We sent each and every one of them by courier. None of them have responded. Like I said, it's okay. We are not part of government. We're not elected. We are individuals of the Niger Delta that have a right to make these demands, and we will continue to make those demands. Does that mean that I dislike any of the governors just like that? No, I don't. Do I like all their policies that they make? No, I don't. Do they like everything that I say? No, they don't. Should they hate me for it? No, they shouldn't. But if they choose to do so and disregard me as a person or you as a person, then that's also okay. But it's not going to stop me from talking. It's not going to stop me from putting my position forward. And history and time is going to show whether they were right or whether Niger Delta Self-Determination was right to demand for these things. That is rightfully our right to demand. If we all remember, before the 2019 election, Governor Wike set up, or was in the, it was passed as law in Rivers State, set up a neighborhood watch scheme, which other states before Governor Wike already have such schemes in their states, whether they are religious or whether they are economic or whatever it is. But the one that was set up in Rivers State, when they went to training, the military itself came and scattered it, to use the local word to express what happened. The military itself came and scattered it on the claim that they had that Rivers State government is training militias or whatever the case may be, forgetting that the Rivers State government had already gone ahead and announced that the training will begin for the people who have been chosen to be employed into the neighborhood watch scheme. So, if nearly 10 months, or 10 months, not nearly, 10 months after Niger Delta Self-Determination Movement made that call to our governors of our region, and they have still not been able to come up with a full state-by-state security body employing the indigenes of their states into this security, then the role that we will play in terms of, if you see something, say something, even those rights have been taken away from us by the very governors that we want to work with to provide this justified security that is a constitutional and human right. We have a right to feel secure, to be secure, and to secure ourselves. The government owes us a responsibility, not political interest, not party politics interest. They owe us a responsibility as people of their state to provide this security that we're talking about. So that today hoodlums have attacked people in the north who are want to discuss security in their states and in their region. It shows them what we are talking about when we talk about injustice, lack of development, lack of responsibility of the state, of the federal government to the people of the Niger Delta, and all of those demands that we've been making. Now, last week or 2 weeks ago, the South representatives in the National Assembly have come together to demand for the South Development Commission or South Development whatever. I just want to add this to it, that I think as someone who is interested in what politicians do in my name, and as the convener of the Niger Delta Self-Determination Movement that believes that it is our right to know what politicians do in the name of the Niger Delta region, that the Northeast has a Northeast Development Commission, and the Northwest, and the Southwest and the Southeast, basically every geopolitical zone is asking for the same development commission I want to say this at this point, and if I am wrong in the future, I will know what to do. But this is an opinion that I want to share. At this particular time and place, what I believe that the senators, the 18 senators, including the Deputy Senate President, who is a Niger Delta son from Delta State, and his brother senators, and the rest of the House of Representative members, I want to believe, and I want to say this categorically, that what they should do and should have done would have been not to throw in everybody wants a development commission, so we too want a development commission. Who is going to fund this development commission from each zone? I have a great concern, and I want them to listen carefully. I have great concern that their personal political interest, all politicians of the Niger Delta, or that your personal political interest for today and the future, and your loyalty to your political party has clouded your responsibility, your political responsibility to the people that voted for you. I want to tell you that as we speak, you have continued to put at risk every little thing we have gained in this contraption that is called Nigeria, created by Lugard. What do I mean by that? What has the Niger Delta gained? The agencies that is supposed to have been set up, all of you have failed those agencies, all of you. The agency, whether it is NDDC, Ministry of Niger Delta, Amnesty, all of you have failed to keep these agencies and what it is supposed to achieve. You have refused to keep it alive. You have joined your brothers and sisters from outside of Niger Delta to allow these agencies to fail. That there are youths in the Niger Delta today that periodically get up and carry placards and be shouting, "We want our 65,000 naira." Is not development of the youth. It's not development of the youth. You have failed. That our youths are not educated, and there is even no quality education for our youth to attend, is a failure. Is a failure. So, whom should we blame? We should blame the politicians. Because when you're not in power, when you're not in political power by party politics, you are in opposition. When you are in power or you are in opposition, what is in your interest should be what is in the people's interest, the people that you represent. what is in their interest. The 2023 election that everybody is looking forward to, I want to say it here, that every politician who believes that it is going to be politics as usual in 2023, that other people's children will carry AK-47 for them, educated or not, poor or not, rich or not, they may be disappointed. They will be disappointed. And people who are from this region, the Niger Delta region, and who think that come 2023, that 2-3 months before elections, that they will be chopping and changing, people will be believing one party will bring this person, another party will bring this person, you will be surprised. I want to believe so, that you will be surprised. Because the people's eyes are being opened. The people's eyes are open. The people are getting understanding of what has been going on, in case they didn't know. The fact of the COVID-19 and the pandemic has shown the people of this region the failures have been very glaring. So, politics is to deliver equity, is to deliver justice, is to deliver good. And people must begin to demand for these things. The desire for these things, the demand for these things is not anti-government. It is not anti-anybody. It is not anti this party or that party. It is what the people desire. It is what the people have a right to get. It is what the people must have. The youths of the Niger Delta have been so disenfranchised that you have youths who are 22, 25, going into their 30s and are beginning to ask themselves, what has it all been about? What has it all been about? What? So, once they determine the answers for themselves, nobody can put AK-47 in their hands. Anybody who wants to use violence is planning violence and lies and blackmail to win election or to get political power. Not only do I pray and believe that it will not be like that, I believe that the very people that you are targeting to use as a politician, if you are a politician, and the way you think you're going to become a winner in an election is to use somebody else's child, they may seem to you today like you can use them. But justice and equity and what is right will surprise you when the time comes. And the youths, as I round up, I want to say to you that no matter, just no matter, there is nobody that will not feel the the neglect and the abuse and the poverty and the wretchedness that is on ground today. Even the millionaires are feeling it. There is nobody that is not feeling it. I want to say to you, the youth, that truly it really doesn't have to be like that. If you are a woman and you've given birth, you're more likely to understand. If you're a man and you've watched a woman give birth, you will understand what I'm about to say now. No matter how terrible a situation is, and the youths of this region have been through some terrible things, no matter how terrible the things have been, once you get an understanding that it never had to be like that in the first place, and that it is an injustice for people in communities like Buguma, like Emoha, like here, not to have had a quality education when their grandparents had education in that very community. You have to ask yourself, what can you do to change this unfair and unjust circumstances that you find yourself in? Is it to terrorize to put fear in people of your community who are not responsible for what everybody is going through? Or is it to say to yourself, you will not allow this to happen? Once you decide on the right thing to do, which is to know that what we all are enduring today at some level in the Niger Delta does not have to have been at all, and that everything, every development you come across in the Niger Delta, outside of the Niger Delta, Abuja, Lagos, always bear in mind that it came about from the oil and gas of the Niger Delta region. It doesn't matter whether people say oil is finished, oil is not finished. It doesn't matter. What matters and what must be your focus is this: whatever you want today and whatever you have lacked in the past, that the provision for it is already here in the Niger Delta, and it belongs to you. And therefore, it is not about amnesty. It is not about the Ministry of Niger Delta. It is not about NDDC. It is not about PDP. It's not about APC. It is about you, and it is about the people who claim that they are governing us, either at federal level or at state level or at local government level. At this point, I thank you, and I thank God for giving me the strength. I thank you for listening. I thank you for your time. I thank God for giving me the courage, for giving me the wisdom to be able to articulate and share with you what I believe. These are the things that I believe in. These are the things that I am canvassing for. That things don't have to be like this. We have no business with poverty. Our youths have no business with poverty. Our youths have no business with lack and want. our youths have a very bright future, and that future is being held back. Our youths must know that it is theirs to take. I'm not talking about violence, I'm talking about wisdom. I'm talking about decision making. I'm talking about enough is enough. I'm talking about standing firm on what you believe, on what you want, and acting on them until you get what you want. And the time which you will get it will be determined by the sort of pressure you're willing to put on it. And finally, by the grace of God, justice must prevail, and it doesn't have to be done violently. I'm not an advocate of violence. I hate violence, but I also do not want violence to come to us. So on that note, I thank you very much, and God bless you until next week. Bye-bye. Have a good week.